Hello, everyone. Good morning for US and good evening for India. We are doing the book review of Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender. We looked at forward, preface, introduction in chapter 1, and we just introduced chapter 2 last time. We talked about the mechanism of surrender, the mechanism of letting go at a very, very brief level. Today, we are going to talk about the topics in chapter 2. And it is all about feelings, mind, how we suppress it, how we repress it, how we handle the feelings, how we commonly express our feelings, right? So, the most common ways our mind expresses our feelings is through suppression and repression, through expression, or through escape. Mostly everything falls into these three categories, right? So, we look into detail about what each one is about and what is that causing us. Suppression and repression. Suppression means we are consciously doing it. I don't want to feel it this way. Let's say I'm with you and your actions are making me very angry, but I don't want to let you know that I'm feeling angry about it. Then I suppress it, that I'm consciously putting it to myself without expressing it out, right? Repression means unconsciously suppressing it. Like you are not even aware. It is not aware to your conscious mind that you are repressing that. That is called repression. Repression means you're not aware, you're unconsciously doing it. You don't even know that. Let's say it is because of mostly our cultural upbringing, how the cultural beliefs and everything, right? If you were told not to agree to whatever your parents are saying, or you grow up in a household, very strict household, then where you cannot raise your voice when your dad is saying something, when your mom is saying something, initially you suppress it, right? Okay, I'm told not to talk or make my feelings vocal, so I will suppress it. But it is so inbuilt in you that eventually it becomes an unconscious reaction to everything. You will start repressing without your knowledge. The other thing is, if you suppress it several times, then it gets repressed also, because it basically, the feeling, the emotion has not taken expression. It Everything is energy, right? A feeling is an energy. And that energy, physics, whoever studied physics, that energy can be neither destroyed nor created, it can only be transformed. So what is happening to all this energy of the feelings that we are suppressing and repressing? It is manifesting in something else, it is transforming into something else. That is what is somatic illnesses, right? Somatic illness means, soma means muscle, in the form of pain, in the form of autoimmune diseases, in the form of anxiety, anything, right? You become very sensitive to things. Allergies are, it seems, I didn't know that actually. My younger one has, he just had seasonal allergies this year. He's 12 now. Until now, he never had allergies. And he developed allergies. So I want to do more research on it. And it's mostly environmental allergies. If he moves to another place, if we travel to another place, he won't have them. Here, the mountain grass, we live around hills and everything. The mountain grass, the flowers of the mountain grass, right? That is, he's allergic, severely allergic to that. But I have questions here. I have questions like, how is that he's allergic to that particular thing, but not something else? So, of course, we need to read more into allergy and what causes it and everything. But definitely his immunity has gone down, or it was not there. I don't know what it is. Because he's so young, I can think about those things and look into those, right? So, any illnesses we have, any um, any chronic illnesses, basically anything chronic, right? Our body is amazing. Our physical body, it it is a pharmacy within itself, a very good pharmacy. Even before a doctor can run some tests and diagnose things, our body can itself understand what is going on in our body and create antidotes, medicines, provided we are in the right mindset, right? We give the conducive environment to it, it can fix it by itself. If it is not able to fix it by itself, so I'm also living in the same area, why is it that I'm not allergic to that mountain grass flower, but my son is? So we need to understand those things, right? So basically, suppression and repression Both are about pushing feelings down and putting them aside, not experiencing them, not allowing them. So again, everywhere there is judgment, right? Oh, you're a guy, you cannot cry. You're a girl, you cannot be loud. You're a girl, you cannot be opinionated. I know in this age and this day, most of the things are changing, but still underlying, there are a lot of those things where gender based, culture based, role based. You're a mom, you cannot do this. You're a sister, you're a daughter, you're a wife, right? Based on those things, we are told not to be in a certain way. You have to fall into a category. You have to fall into a mold where you are this, you are supposed to do this. So anytime I have an emotion outside which is not falling under my definition of what I am supposed to be and do, then I'm confused, because my every cell of my body has been programmed to think in a certain way. It's like out of scope, right? Oh, a new feeling came. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm not supposed to feel it, so I'll push it aside, right? I don't want to feel it. And I don't want to be bothered by those feelings. Our ego, self-esteem, a lot of things come into picture here. I don't want to feel this way. I don't want to be bothered by this feeling. Then mostly because I don't even know what to do with that feeling. I don't know how to entertain that feeling at this moment, right? So we prefer to suffer through them. How are we suffering? We are suffering through illnesses. Because you are not experiencing and letting the emotion take its course, we are suffering the consequences. And we prefer, oftentimes, most people know, oh, whenever I get really mad and really frustrated, some people say I get an acid reflux or I get a heartburn. You almost know, I always get a heartburn whenever I fight with my husband. I always get a heartburn whenever I have this uncomfortable situation, and I don't like altercation. I don't like conflict. Whenever I get into such thing, I get a heartburn. Whenever I have to give a presentation at work, I get a heartburn. So you know what is going on, you know the consequence of it, but you still don't want to experience that emotion because this is known. You don't know, you're scared on, if I let that emotion surface, if I experience that emotion, what will happen? Uncertainty. I don't want to live with uncertainty. Because of that, the certain thing, even though it is problematic, it is causing me pain, I will live with it because that is something I know. You know what? I'll take one antacid. I know this happens to me. Today, I think I'm going to have a fight with my husband. I'll have an antacid today before I talk to him, right? Before even I start the conversation, precautionary measure, let me have it kind of thing. So this is what we do. I'm pretty sure this is very, very familiar to a lot of us. We know this, we do this, right? And why do we repress the emotions? We repress our emotions because of guilt and fear. Guilty of not being able to perform the actions that we are supposed to perform based on the role we are playing in that given moment of time. Fear that if I let this emotion, if I feel this emotion, oh, I have to go on stage and present right now. Just before coming here, let's say I had some very emotional thing where I'm almost about to cry. It's like, oh my God, I cannot cry. How will I look? Oh my God, I cannot be teary-eyed and red-faced and everything. So fear of something. What will people think? If I am a leader and I'm going to do a product launch or something, how will people, if I had a something that went on which created a lot of fear in me or a lot of whatever, right? Nervousness or a lot of sadness in me. I heard a very sad news. I cannot go on stage showing that. If I'm feeling sad, it weakens me. If I feel weak, I cannot go and be a leader there. So let me suppress it for now. Let me repress it for now. I don't want to feel this. I don't have the luxury of feel. I heard a lot of people say, I don't have the luxury of feeling these emotions, right? So guilt and fear is what causes repression. And it basically stays on, it becomes so much for you. You have created your own persona that for me to be like this, to function like this, to be this way, I cannot. So it is not even in your awareness. You don't know about it. How repressed feelings are handled. What happens when you repress your feeling? You are in denial. You don't want to accept that you are having that emotion or there is a potential of having this emotion. Let's say I'll say that whenever I go on stage or whenever I give a talk, my stomach rumbles, or I have butterflies in my stomach, or something happens. I don't want to accept that because, hey, come on, I've been giving talks for one year now. I should not feel it this way. Most people have that stage fright maybe once or twice. It's been 1 year. Why am I still having stage fright? No, I don't have stage fright. I'm just using that as an example. But mostly that is the one of the second most fear people have apart from death is public speaking. So that's why I'm using that as an example, right? So I am in denial. I don't want to accept that there's a possibility of me having that emotion, right? When I'm in denial, what do? I create emotional blocks. I create maturational blocks. Even though I'm old and matured and I understand what happens, I don't want to accept it. I create a block. Now, when I create a block, it becomes too much. I cannot tolerate it. If I keep doing it, my body cannot take it. It doesn't have the capacity to take it. Then what does it do? It projects. It has to take some form, right? So it projects. What is projecting? What does a projector do? It projects the movie. That means outward. It is not inward. I'm projecting it out. I am saying, I already am going through something. Let's say my son comes and says, Amma, the TV remote is not there. It's like, are you kidding me? I burst into flames. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I am going to a talk. Why are you talking about remote? Can't you find it by yourself? Just think. Is that needed? Is it necessary? No. So I will project it saying that my son always ruins this by coming and asking about some trivial things. How is it trivial? It's a weekend for him. He wants to wake up, watch TV. So do you see? And oh, this weather, cold weather always makes it like this for me. Or my husband does this for me. My mother-in-law does this for me. My mom does this for me. My job does this for me. My boss, you're projecting it out. Because it seeks expression. Energy seeks expression. It needs to transform into something. So we are projecting it out on all external things, all possible external things. You'll be amazed at how many, if you're hearing people complain all the time, it's really interesting on what are the things they complain about sometimes. If they hear themselves, they'll understand that really kind of stuff. So when we are projecting it out, denial leads to projection, right? And then what happens? You repress and deny and you project outward. And then what happens? They become the enemy. You haven't exercised the emotion. You chose to block the emotion. You chose to repress it. You forget all that. It is it that is causing the problem. They are causing the problem. He's causing the problem. She's causing the problem. This house is too small. The weather is too hot. It's too rainy. It's too cold, too chilly. Oh, if somebody lovingly gets you Diwali sweets, everybody gets Diwali sweets. Instead of seeing the love, it's like, oh my God, this person always gets me sweets and I become fat and I gain a few pounds. Either you eat the sweets or give it away, donate to somebody else. There are a lot of people who will happily eat it, right? So we blame others. We find an enemy to put all the blame on. And what happens when a lot of people do this is social destruction. That is what is like, a lot of people do it, right? So if you are upset, you go and take the upset on somebody else. When they are not completely confused on why is this person, how am I the reason, right? Now you made them feel a certain way. Now they have to exercise that emotion. Either they suppress it or they express it. Either way, it is a problem. So do you see how you not accepting and exercising an emotion, letting it take expression, letting it take a form, a healthy form, how you are the cause for social destruction? Just think about it. It is not. We have a social responsibility, in my opinion, to not cause social destruction, at least. If you cannot do any good, at least don't do any bad, right? Leave it neutral. So mind searches for and finds justification to reinforce the projection. Blame is placed on people, places, situations. And all this is done why? Because we want to maintain our self-esteem at the expense of others. I did not do well today because something happened. Because somebody came and knocked. My entire focus was gone because somebody came and knocked on my door. right? And remember this mechanism of projection underlies all attack. I'm attacking others. I'm attacking others because I don't have what it takes to own my emotion. That's why I'm attacking others. So think of like this anybody who is blaming, and we all do. It is not, I'm not saying like, unless you are really enlightened and very, very calm and composed throughout, it's like there is an aura of calmness around people like that. If you are not that, just pause and listen to, be aware of where you're complaining. Whenever you are complaining, you are avoiding some emotion. You're definitely avoiding some emotion. That's why you're complaining. Expression. So we talked about suppression and repression. The second form of handling emotions is through expression. Expression means expressing it out, right? Feeling is vented, verbalized, or stated in body language. It's like, I don't have to say words. You can look at my body and say, oh my God. It's like, I do this. That's enough. You will understand. You'll come and say, Amma, I did this. You asked me to fold clothes. I just look, oh my God. I don't even have to say a word. You will know that I screwed up something, things like that. So in our body language, you get frustrated, you get angry, you shut the door, the way in which you just turn yourself. You're coming here and I just turn myself here. I don't want to talk to you, right? So there are different ways of venting out our feelings through all these things, right? And emotional intelligence is understanding the pulse of the room. How are people feeling? If you are emotionally intelligent, you can understand how other person is feeling. It might not be you. They could be feeling because of somebody else also, right? It need not be you all the time. So if it is somebody else, which it doesn't matter, you need not know who it is, but certain person is feeling happy. So maybe it's the right time to say these things. This person is feeling nervous. So what is it that I can do or say or not say, not to increase their emotion or make it worse, right? If we all have that kind of wisdom, the emotional intelligence, then automatically we can neutralize the atmosphere of a room anywhere we are. You know how some people are very, very calming? Like you could be all messed up and nervous and crying and venting out. Just their presence, the way they speak, the way they bring forth, you have to also, if you respect them, if you think that somebody is that person in your life who is giving you calmness, giving you perspective, pay attention to how they are reacting, what they are saying when your situation is in a certain way. That is something you need to learn. That is something you need to learn to tell yourself, if not help others, right? So basically this expression is literally letting out the inner pressure of unprocessed emotions, right? Now, why are we doing it? Pressure cooker is the best example. It builds enough pressure to cook the food, but the excess is vented out in a whistle, right? The whistle comes out in a pressure cooker and it vents out. That is the excess pressure that is not needed anymore. The food is already cooked. It's not needed. So all the excess pressure is vented out. That said, there is still some pressure inside that is repressed. Is it better to repress 100% of it or vent out 20, 30? You know how some people, they talk a lot. I talk a lot. My husband and I have been working from home since COVID. I have been working from home for a long time. But since COVID, we both are working from home. My husband knows in and out of even my code. It's like my performance reviews, what I do. The other day I was saying something and my kid was like, Amma, why don't you fire that person? And my husband right away said that person is not performance putting on a plan worthy kind of thing. So that much, my husband knows so much about it because I always talk. But my husband, on the other hand, he doesn't talk. He internalizes things. He doesn't have to vent it out that way. Maybe he wants to, sometimes he does, but he does not talk. So there is different ways on. I'm a very expression kind of person. I when I am going through some emotions which are not very friendly, I tell my kids, okay, today is not the day you come and fight with me or argue with me or come and bring up things which will make me, I'm on an edge today. I will blow up. So don't come close to me. I give them a warning. And I channelize my energy into drawing something, writing something, preparing some slides. There is a lot of energy. There is a lot of energy to anger, to frustration. If you can channelize into, if you see artists, right? Musicians, they play music, painters, pottery, sculptures, anybody. If you channelize all that excess energy into something, you can create beautiful things. Of course, it can lead to destruction as well. So you have to be mindful on if you're venting out. But expression means, you know how people do strikes, mass expression, right? How people do strikes and riots and everything. It does not free up from feelings. You are just expressing it out. You are not acknowledging it. You are not understanding your emotion. You have to, Ramana Maharshi, right? Who am I? Ninnu Nivu Telsko. Understand who you are. How do you understand who you are? You understand who you are based on how you react to things. What is it that triggers you? Why is it that if if you put books and pencils on a desk, one person is totally pissed off and the other person is very calm about it? Because one person is a perfectionist. They want everything aligned, straight, 90 degrees. They cannot, your pencil is like this. They cannot handle seeing this. It irks them so much. One person does not care at all. It's like it's her desk, her pencil. How does it matter? Again, there is levels of perfectionism. I might feel I'm a perfectionist, but I am organized. I'm not so bad. But my husband is even more organized than me. So for him, he sees me as an unorganized person. Not everywhere, but some places. But so in other places, I see him that way. I'm like, for such an organized person you are, how can you not fold your laundry? Things like that, right? So the thing is, what triggers you? When you understand those things, then that is step one. Understanding what triggers me. It is not universal. It is not, if somebody lies, a person cannot take it if a other person lies. Some people are like, okay, I understand they are lying. Is there any way I can help them? If not, that's okay. Do you see how some people are so cool and you feel that they are so careless? They don't care about society. They don't care about your well-being. That's why they're not. You can still care about the well-being of a person without getting worked up. Those things which irritate and annoy you, those are the clues and cues with which you have to see, why am I getting bothered by this? What is it in me? You might have some suppressed and repressed emotions that are triggering. Those are like, these triggers are causing some kind of frustration. You have to look into those. Expression always does not free up from feelings. It propagates the feeling and gives it greater energy. It actually enhances the energy. Let's say my husband said something to me. If I went and told my neighbor about it, depending on her personality, her experience with her husband, her mother-in-law, whoever it is, she might either, in Telugu, there is a saying called Agni ki ajyam poyadam. That means, ajyam means ghee, adding fuel to the fire, right? She could tell things like, oh my God, you're an educated woman, you're a working woman, why are you letting your husband walk all over you? Why are you doing this? She could do all that, right? Which will give me greater energy and greater frustration. Or she could be like, okay, if he's doing that, maybe he had a hard day at work. He really doesn't feel that way about you. He's just redirecting his frustrations like that. Settle down. Let's see what happens. Wait for 24 hours. See what if it continues. Do you see the difference? So our expression can cause a lot of problems too. Self-indulgence at the cost of others. We have to balance suppression and expression. They have to be balanced. You cannot suppress everything. You cannot express everything, right? So why do we do this? Why do we, like, if I was raised by parents who have been very vocal all the time, who are socially always like reformers, or they are teachers, or they have been like, they are in professions where they taught me how to be like, you have to let people know how you feel, all those things, right? Then I grew up to be a more expressive person. Instead, if I'm from a cultural background where like, no, you have to be calm, you have to be mellow, you should not, you're a girl, you're a mom, you're a son, you cannot cry, all these things, then based on the cultural norms, the social media, let's say none of this is a problem, not my cultural, environmental, but my social media. Let's say I am part of certain groups where they are very expressive and about certain ideas, then those get implanted in me, right? And parenting and early training, how, if not just parenting, what if I was in a school where my teacher, certain teacher had some values, everything feeds into you, all those cause for you to create a personality of either this or that, right? Sigmund Freud, he made a lot of strides in psychoanalysis. He pointed out that suppression was the cause of neurosis. He said that if you suppress emotions, they will manifest in form of certain things. Lot of people, lot of psychologists, they misinterpreted this, that you cannot suppress your emotions, so start expressing it out. If I express my frustration, is it fair? Because I don't want to feel bad, I'll just let out everything. I'll just let out everything and make your life hell. How is that fair? If I want to indulge, I don't want to feel the pain or whatever, so I will start expressing it out. The people around us will die. They cannot handle us anymore, right? So even a lot of psychologists, they started treating people saying that you have to express out your emotions. That was mistakenly, misinterpreted on what he said. He said suppression causes neurosis, but he did not say that expression solves everything, right? That was mistakenly thought to be the cure. So what am I supposed to do? If I'm not supposed to suppress, if I'm not supposed to express, what am I supposed to do? I have to neutralize the emotion, right? And I have to channel into constructive work. I can show it as love. I can show it as work. I can show it as creativity. So I have to neutralize it and channel it properly in a constructive way. That is what I'm supposed to do. Don't dump negative feeling on others. I mean, I can't even tell you. If you cannot do any good, please don't do any bad, right? Because there is an energy transference. Look at this. This person is a positively charged energy. He has all positive emotions. He learns how to express all his emotions and everything. You are somebody who is having a lot of negative emotions, right? Your friend is full of emotional energies. Your friend shares his emotional story. His energies and emotional stuff is now hanging in your field. So you know how when some people talk, they say, oh, I get so much energized when I'm talking to other person. I feel so great after this talk. There is this speaker, I listen to them and I'm so good about it. It is displacement, right? If I have a cup of muddy water in here, and I want clear water in this, how do I get clear water in this? I have to displace it. I have to pour this water out, clean this cup, and put clean water in. I cannot have both. I cannot magically make the muddy water clean water. It is displacement. So when it is one thing, so you can say that, okay, now that means, are you telling me that I cannot listen to these so-and-so gurus and so motivational speakers? They have boundaries. They have energy fields that they have figured out. They are in that profession because they have figured out how to feel themselves, how to set boundaries so that you don't step into theirs and you drain them off, right? But still, if you feel that there is some person, some mentor who has always been helping you, but suddenly they disappeared, they don't want to interact with you anymore, that means they are in a position where they cannot take your negative energies. You have to understand that, and you have to give them place. You have to respect their boundaries, right? When this is about mentors and you're listening, but in day-to-day life, in your household, when you're dumping your negative feelings on others, they're experiencing it as an attack. Who knows what is their capability? Can they take all that, right? Now, when you transfer your energy into them, they are forced to suppress, express, or escape the feelings. Obviously, they have to somehow do it, right? How are they doing it? Are they causing harm to somebody else? Are they impacting somebody else at their work? So do you see it's like a domino effect, right? You went out, let's say you had a bad day at work, you went out to your spouse. They want to be supportive of you. They will take all the 10. Now they have to have a vent for themselves. How are they doing it? Either they are taking it all in, suppressing and repressing and causing illnesses for themselves, or they are going and expressing it out and taking it out on somebody, and they are getting impacted. So you have not actually impacted just your spouse, you have impacted them, and they might have impacted others. It's a domino effect, right? When you feel that you cannot maintain good relationships, when you feel that I can never stick to any relationships, or why do people, I am a very nice person, why is it that I don't have many friends? I feel like I found a great person, but they are not friends with me anymore. They don't want to spend time with me anymore. Why? Think how you're working with them. What is it you're contributing to the relationship? Relationship is a link. It has to be about, if you cannot take, then what is it? How is it benefiting them? Right? They might be drained. They don't. There is one thing. When you are getting benefited from them, if you're constantly improving, that is giving this person satisfaction. That, okay, they are talking to me, they are venting out, but me giving advice is helping them improve. Then maybe, yes, they will stay in the relationship because they are invested in your improvement. But you are not improving, you are standing at the same place, you're always complaining about the same thing, you're not willing to grow, you're not willing to exercise or practice the things that are given to you, and you're always here, then the relationship will end, right? Or it will not be so fruitful. If you don't have good relationships, if you are not somebody who people want to hang out with, want to spend time with, if they're avoiding you, then look at yourself. Look at what is going on in that relationship. What are you doing? What is it that you are doing? If people would rather spend some time, they're avoiding you, they're escaping, whatever, then think why, right? And it is not them. Anytime, any religion, any spirituality, anything, it asks you to look inward. Take responsibility, take ownership. What is it that I am doing? What is it that I am contributing to the world? Before asking what is the world doing to me, right? Better alternative is to take responsibility of our own feelings and neutralize them. If we neutralize our feelings, the net effect is zero, right? I'm not enhancing the bad thing in the world, or I'm not draining things, but I'm neutralizing it, right? When you neutralize your negative feelings, then what are you left with? You are left with only positive feelings. You express only positive feelings. When you express only positive feelings, you're creating stuff. You're influencing people in a positive way. You're uplifting other people, right? So we talked about suppression, repression. We talked about expression. Now we are talking about escape. So what is the other third most common way of working with emotions? We are escaping. How are we escaping? There are so many ways that we escape. And I think people might fall into the category of either or. Like sometimes, most times you suppress, repress, or most times you express, you talk about it, you put it on, dump it on others. But escape is something I guess everybody across the board does it. You're socializing, you're talking, you're texting, you're reading, music play, drugs, overeating, gambling. You are trying to avoid something. There is a difference between anything in moderation, right? Anything once a month we go watch a movie out. I go to shopping once a month. Those are in moderation. You are doing it, you're really enjoying the process, the activity, that is different. Oh, this is stress eating. This is stress shopping, shopaholic, workaholic, alcoholic. What are those? That is escape mechanisms. Avoidance of feelings through diversion. So what happens when you divert? The energy is there. It can only transform. It does not get destroyed. Where are you putting your energies? Wherever you are putting your energies, that becomes more and more in your life, right? You can avoid our own inner selves and keep our feelings from emerging, leading to addictions. When you escape through these activities, they become your addiction, right? We are desperately trying to stay unconscious. We don't want to consciously feel and acknowledge what is going through with us, right? Because we are terrified of facing ourselves. And most people, they cannot stay alone. In meditation, in spirituality, it is about staying alone. Why? Because when you are alone, I could always blame others. If I'm around people who are annoying me, I can always blame it on others, that I am like this because you are annoying me. When I'm alone with my emotions, who is annoying me? You have no choice but to take accountability. You have no choice but to say, okay, this is only me. I'm sitting here, I'm closing my eyes. So you're not even, your sense organs are also not. Once you go into a little few minutes of you close your eyes, you even forget, the sense organs will stop working, in the sense that they will not trigger so much. Now, I'm closing my eyes, I'm meditating. Now I'm witnessing all my thoughts. What are thoughts? Several thoughts, hundreds of thousands of thoughts make emotions, feelings, right? They convert into feelings. So if you observe the thought and you let it go, okay, it is there, it is present. There is a tree there, it is present. Am I doing anything about it? Am I doing anything about the waterfalls? Am I doing anything about the nature? Sun setting, sun rising? No, it is like that. Thoughts are also like that. If you don't entertain them, they won't become feelings. You observe them, you let them go, right? That's why when you are alone, that's when self-reflection happens, introspection happens. You have to learn to live alone. You go for a walk, you talk on phone. Why? Why do you have to talk on phone? 24 hours is not enough. I have to talk to my aunts, my cousins, I have to get all the news, I have to talk to my friends, I have to listen to so much, I have to gain so much. Yes, we all have to learn, we have to grow, but it is very, very important to have as much time to spend alone as well, to process, to understand what is going on, right? Mechanisms of escape. What are the different mechanisms of escape? There is a progressive loss of awareness, arrest of growth, because, like it or not, every experience that is happening in your life is meant for your growth. Every emotion that you feel is meant for your growth. If I'm very angry at a certain thing, that is where I have to look at what is making me angry. Why is it making me angry? How can I neutralize it? Once you learn the art of letting go of that anger emotion triggered by those circumstances, I have mastered it. Then it won't bother me anymore. The entire life, finding inner peace is about neutralizing all the emotions, not letting external things bother you. Then you have inner peace. Your inner peace can never be shattered. It's surrounded by so much. It can be surrounded by so much tight guardrails that no external thing can come and impact it, right? If you have these mechanisms of escape where you are trying to get addicted, you are trying to distract yourself. I have to constantly listen to TV because I am scared that if I'm alone, there is no voice in the house. I cannot handle my emotions. I cannot handle my thoughts. Yes, it is scary for some people. You don't have to jump right into it. That's the reason we say start slow, right? When you're meditation or staying alone, mindfulness, start slow, 5 minutes, slowly 10 minutes, slowly 15 minutes, right? And whenever it is getting overwhelming, come out. But start. If you don't do that with mechanism of escape, you're arresting your own growth. loss of creativity, energy, and real interest in others. If you're so addicted to certain things, you are not in a place to take real interest in others, make connections, make human connections. You're not in a place because you're always self-indulgent, right? You're always working about, you're scared. Let's say this, right? Something is chasing you. Let's say you're in the forest and a tiger or a lion is chasing you. Are you in a place to think about others and like, hey, how are you doing? Oh, are you, did you fall down? Can I lift you? No, you are so freaking scared and running for your life. You cannot think of anything else, right? Addiction is like that. You are so trying to run away from whatever is bothering you that you don't or won't have the capacity to create something, because creation means you have to be calm and composed to create something. To take real interest in others, you have to be calm and composed first. How or why will anybody say, come on, give me all your agonies, I will see one by one how to help you? How can you do that if you're not calm? If you are not composed, how can you help others, right? And it's like, it is not, helping others is not like a big thing like, oh, it's, if you are calm and composed, your just presence, your presence will help others, your calmness will help others. You don't have to externally do anything separately. It is not an effort to be done. It is not a checklist or activity that today I helped somebody. You don't. You just, if you are calm and composed, you just living your life, being yourself, your just presence is living your purpose, is helping others. Parupakarathamidam sariram. I am here to help others. My purpose of life is to be beneficial to somebody. It will be if you figure out on how to be calm. So don't do a favor. It is not just for you. The contribution of you to the world is you being calm and composed. That is your contribution to the world. You don't have to invent something or do drastic things. That will come eventually. Like, if you're more calm and composed, you have a lot of energy, because using these mechanisms of suppression, repression, expression, escape, we are spending so much energy. If I have 100 units of energy every day, if I'm spending 90% of them because I don't know how to neutralize my emotions, I have 10% left. I'm always tired. When you're always tired, how can you, oh, I cannot read a book. I mean, like, I'm always tired. I don't have the luxury of reading a book because I'm a working mom and I have to do this, I have to do that. Instead, if you're not struggling, if you're not constantly running against the current, there's so much energy left. You do whatever you're doing, at still end of the day, you have so much energy left, and that energy has to take expression. It will go into some creativity. It will go into some constructive work. So if you don't do, right, if you do escape, then your progressive loss of awareness, your loss of creativity, it will halt your spiritual growth. When you are not creating, we will talk about creativity some other day in detail, but creativity is not just building something, making something. Oh, I have become an artist, a painter, a musician. It is not, creating is not just that. Creating could be anything. It's a wide spectrum of what you could create. It need not be huge. Development of physical and emotional illnesses is what happens eventually, right? Disease, aging, and premature death. That's what happens if you do mechanism of escape. And basically, it increases selfishness, because it's always about you, me, my feelings, my emotions, my stuff, right? When you're always thinking about yourself, you cannot love others. You cannot trust another person. When there is no trust and love, you cannot create human connections. When you cannot create human connections, you don't have relationships. If anybody out there thinks that I'm not good at making friends, I am not, see, there is a difference. Some people, you can see that they're very aloof, they have very small set of friends, does not mean they're doing all this. If you're unhappy about it, Some people are very conservative, they are reserved, they have a small circle of friends, but they're happy and content with themselves. This is when you're complaining, I don't have enough relationships, I don't have enough friends. When you're complaining about the fact that you don't have a human connection with a lot of people, then think about this. Right? The results are emotional isolation and self-hatred. You won't like yourself because you are always like, what is in me that people are not liking? You're repelling people with your these things, right? Because you don't know how to handle your emotions. Now we'll talk about when we let go of a feeling, what happens. We talked about what happens when we suppress and repress emotions, when we express them out in not good ways and we escape them. Now, what happens when we let go of a feeling? Energy behind the feeling is instantly surrendered. There is so much of energy associated with each feeling, which literally drains you down. It's like having weights. You know how to swim. You can come to the surface and rescue yourself. But if you have all weights on your legs, on your hands, on your arm, if you have all weights, you are going to drown. You cannot come to the surface and rescue yourself. You have the capability, but you cannot rescue yourself because of all the weights. Emotions, negative emotions are like all those weights that we have attached to ourselves. We are not ready to let go. So when you have to come to the surface, what is the first thing that you have to do? Let go of all the weights, right? So that you become lighter, and then your limbs are free. Then you can, swim and come up, right? Pull yourself up. So when we let go of a feeling, energy behind the feeling is instantly surrendered. When that energy is instantly surrendered, net effect is decompression. Otherwise, we are compressing it, right? All that energy is compact and packed. So when we let go of a feeling, it is decompression. When it is decompression, what happens? Accumulated pressure becomes to decrease, right? If I have so much of pocket of energy and if I slowly start releasing my hand, right? It is the accumulated pressure, then we immediately feel better. It's like, a burden is gone. I feel relieved, right? So what happens? Body physiology changes. That tightening goes away. You feel relaxed, you feel comfortable, right? And then first you feel state of inner freedom. Then bodily functions move in the general direction of normals. Our body, as I said, is very, very capable of fixing every possible health scenario. It has the capability. You have to let it. You have to elevate. Let's say you have a doctor in your family. They have the capability of diagnosing you and giving you medicines. But if you don't let them, you cannot say, I have a doctor in my family and I'm not getting well. You have a small headache. Your doctor in the doctor in your house, first they'll be like, okay, did you drink enough water? Are you dehydrated? What are you doing? They will diagnose you. If you're not even letting them talk to you, how can you, right? So your body is a doctor in itself with an equipped pharmacy. It comes with an in-house pharmacy, a hospital, a surgical equipment, everything. If you let it, you don't need anything. It can help rejuvenate itself very well. Once your bodily functions, they go back to normalcy and health, immediately you'll have increase in muscle power. Your vision improves. Vision is not just physical vision, right? Your vision perception improves of everything around you. Our perception of the world and ourselves changes for the better. We feel happier, more loving, and more easygoing. Again, you being in this state, you being in the happy state itself is a gift to everybody. That's the biggest gift you can give to everybody. So now we understood how people commonly exercise emotions and what happens when we let go of that emotion, right? Now, today we are going to talk about feelings and stress. So, like attracts like, the law of attraction. I think after this book, I have law of attraction books I'm yet to read. So I'm going to read that, and I think I'm going to review that law of attraction, because most people don't understand. It's counterintuitive. Like, how come, right? So I think we all have to understand the law of attraction. Stress is letting out of our inner pressure of repressed emotions. How do you understand stress? Mostly people understand stress as an external stimuli. They understand it as, oh, my work is stressing me out. My kids are stressing me out. My parents' health is stressing me out. The social chaos is stressing me out. The coronavirus news is stressing me out. The war news is stressing me out. The financial depression or financial instability is stressing me out. We are trying to say that external things trigger stress in us. That is the most common understanding of stress. But it is not. Stress is when we are letting out our inner pressure of repressed emotions, that is stress. Repressed feelings that make us vulnerable to external stress. Now, why is it that war somewhere in the country, somewhere else, impacts some people and not others? If, let's say, grief, right? So many people are dying regularly. They die, so many people die, so many people are born. But if a family member's, my father passed away and I went through that grief, so I understand that. I can connect to people who say, my father passed away and I'm going through these emotions, right? Empathy. I'm extremely vulnerable to that aspect of it. Because that is what I went through. I had some emotional journey, so I'm vulnerable to it. So if my immediate cousins or family or close friends' father passes away or a parent passes away, I'm more vulnerable to that than others who didn't go through that experience, maybe. So that way, based on what is your journey, what is your background, what is it, you are vulnerable to certain things. For some people, work does not stress them out. For some others, it does. Why? Actually, some people who are not stressing out on the work, they might be taking a lot of responsibility at work, but still it does not stress them out. But some people who are doing very, very basic job, still it might stress them out. Why? It's because whatever we are vulnerable to, that becomes a triggers, right? For external stress. Real source of stress is actually internal. It is not external. What we are holding inside colors our world. I always talk about colored lenses, right? Colored shades. What color am I looking at? That color is dependent on my internal world. The same thing I can look at it in yellow color or something, you can look at it as pink or something else. It is all depending on my individual's internal things. What is going on with you in your life, right? If you're a fearful person, the world is a terrifying place. You think of, oh, I cannot even let my kid go out to school properly because somebody can kidnap them, right? Oh, I cannot walk because a car can come and hit me. I cannot go out in rain because I will catch cough and cold. How many people are drenching in rain and are they catching cough and cold? No. That does not make your thing any less, but I'm just saying that you are vulnerable to it for some reason. Somehow you grew up, your mom always telling you that, oh, if you go in rain, you'll catch cold or something, right? So a fearful person, the world is a terrifying place. For an angry person, the world is a chaos and frustration. Completely. Everything frustrates them. Everything creates anger in them, right? For a guilty person, it's a world of temptation and sin. Oh, Diwali comes. Oh my God. Even before Diwali comes, it's a festival of lights. It's enjoyment. It's so much fun. Instead, oh my God, Diwali is coming. Everybody's going to get sweets. I'm going to eat. I'm going to gain weight. Holidays, Dasra, Diwali, then Christmas, everything. I'm definitely going to gain 20 pounds of weight. I will start with that. Why not, whenever it comes, take a piece of sweet and exercise a little more on those? It's about having your approach, right? Whether your approach is positive or negative. Sweets will stress you out depending on your personality. Or sweets can bring you joy, right? Some people look forward to it. Oh my God, Diwali is coming, lot of sweets and fun stuff, and I can explore. Everybody will get it. I get a lot of variety, things like that. So let go of guilt, and then you will see innocence in everything. When you let go of fear, when you let go of anger, when you let go of the stress triggers from inside, then external things won't bother you as much, right? We focus on what we have repressed. So if you're a person who's always focusing on terrifying things and terrifying places, then you have repressed a lot of fear. If you are somebody who gets frustrated with everything around you, then you have repressed a lot of anger in you, right? That is how stress manifests. So I love this, How Stress Impacts Your Life. This is by Tony Robbins. These are all the things: hair loss, tension headaches, memory, insomnia, premature aging, digestion, colds, weight gain, sexual drive, all these things. These are all like how it manifests, right? And these days they say, oh, every health problem is, these days doctors started saying, do meditation, do mindfulness. All this stress results from the accumulated pressure of our repression and suppressed feelings. The pressure seeks relief, some kind of relief. When you are not giving it a healthy channel, then it will go through this. It will come out in these things. External events only trigger what we have been holding down. So external event is an event. If you let it be just an event, in TV, the news is a piece of news. If you cannot change it, if you cannot actively, again, don't misunderstand me. I'm not trying to say that the bad things that are happening out in the world there, they are right or justified. I'm not discounting them, that they are just piece of news. If you sitting here today in your room, if you cannot contribute to it productively, then what is the point of you taking all the pressure, you getting sick, you causing problem to your loved ones? What are you doing about it? Is it fair that you're creating more problems in the world? If there is a tsunami out there, it wiped off villages, can you contribute to it? If you don't have the financial thing, can you volunteer and contribute your energy and services to it? If you cannot even do that, can you just sit and pray for their well-being? If you cannot do any of these, just don't sit and get frustrated and talk about it and make like chaos around you and in your family. Don't at least create more negativity when you cannot do anything positive. At least be neutral, right? That's what I'm saying. When you get stressed out, the world around you, you're impacting it. The energy of our blocked off feelings re-emerges through our autonomic nervous system. These are all autoimmune diseases, right? Not all of them, some of them. And causes pathological changes leading to disease process. A little bit more on stress. Look at this picture. When you're stressed, your prefrontal cortex, how the process, right? Weaker control of thoughts. You don't have control on your thoughts because you're agitated and frustrated and stressed out. And your actions, emotions, everything, they are weaker. If you're not stressed, then your thoughts here are going everywhere. They are not focused. If you're unstressed, if you're not stressed out, you have a tight control of thoughts. So whatever you do becomes very productive. Whatever you do becomes very productive. You're a pleasant person to work with. You're not causing chaos in the world, but you're contributing to the benefit of it through anything you do, right? Stress is an emotional reaction to a precipitating factor. A negative feeling instantly causes a loss of 50% of a body's muscle strength. So if you're somebody if you want to gain that instant dose of Red Bull, energy drinks and everything, right? Try this. Instead of energy drinks, start thinking positive thoughts and see if it increases your energy levels. If you cannot think positive thoughts, listen to somebody who's speaking positive thoughts. See if that boosts your energy instead of an energy drink or something. Because they have a lot of side effects, right? Stress is determined by our belief systems and their associated emotional pressures. Cause of stress is our degree of reactivity. Somebody who is taking more stress, that means they are reacting more to things. Somebody is very immune to stress. They are like, okay, it's happening. They are not reacting to things. They are responding to things. Responding is calmly doing something to contribute to an action, to an event. Reacting is trigger, right? It's impulsive. The more surrendered we are, the less prone we are to stress. So there are several stress reduction programs out there, but they work on the effect, not on the cause. They try to relieve if you have massaging or physical therapy or anything, oh, you got pain, let me relax your muscle. But what is the cause of it? What is it that is causing the pain to start with, right? Muscle tension is the aftermath of anxiety, fear, anger, and guilt. So if you can let go of these emotions, what am I anxious about? What is it that is creating fear in me? What is bothering me? Why am I getting angry? If you can address those, then you'll not have muscle tension. So this book, repressed and suppressed anger, fear, guilt, or other negative feelings, right? Basically, that's what it is. Louise Hay has these two wonderful books. One book is about explaining how you can heal your life, and the other book is Heal Your Body. These are my go-to things whenever I'm talking to somebody, helping somebody, or for myself or my kids. This book is like a very small index kind of thing, where what it does is it shows the health problem, it shows the cause, and it shows an affirmation on what to say to let go of that emotion. It's a beautiful, wonderful book. I strongly recommend all of you should have this. It cannot do any harm. If anything, it can just help you. It will help you look at life from a different perspective. So life events and emotions. I told you the example of a pressure cooker, right? We put blame on everything else, the external world. It scared me. They made me angry. World events are the cause of my anxiety. He got me upset. When we are expressing, that's what happens. Rationalizing mind prefers to keep the true causes of emotion out of the awareness, because we are always trying to understand, right? How can I sabotage myself? There has to be a reason, external reason, logic, right? Logically, this makes sense. So, rational mind utilizes the mechanism of projection. It blames events or other people for causing a feeling. People or events or my environment is causing the feelings that I'm having, going through. That means, let me tell you this, if you don't go out at all, again, it is like all subconscious mind, right? I told myself that whenever I go to work, these things happen. That's why weekend I'm fine. If we tell ourselves that story, the story we tell ourselves matters. If we tell ourselves that story over and over and over again, that becomes reality, right? That is our reality. The suppressed and repressed feelings seek an outlet and utilize the events as triggers and excuses to vent themselves. All these built up emotions, we want to use one of those as triggers and express it out. Displacement, that's what I talked about, right? Our triggers are set and ready to go off because we are angry that events make us angry. Once we constantly surrender, let go of our emotions, then we displace. Everything has to, again, energy, when the negative energy goes off, what is it filled with? You're converting that negative energy into positive energy. It is very, very difficult for anything to make us angry if we surrender that anger. There are people you cannot make them angry at all. You feel that, oh my God, they're so care. They don't care. A lot of people think that people who are calm and they're not responding, not reacting to your pressures, the things that would impact you, if that is not impacting the person next to you, they feel that, oh, they have such a careless attitude. They just don't care at all. I am more concerned. You are not concerned. Right? Suppress positive feelings. Why do we do this? Because of social conditioning. We have so much ego and pride and arrogance or whatever. We don't want to convey our love to everybody. there has to be a status. How can I love somebody like you? How can I express, oh my God, suppressing positive feelings is also a problem. When you don't, oh, I don't want to let them know that I really am fond of them. If you like somebody, if you don't express it out, it results in broken heart. It re-emerges as excessive adoration of pets and various forms of idolatry. You see some people, they are so very devotional. They can be like, for God, they have so much love, but they don't have it for the fellow beings. God is there in each and every one of us, right? If you can think of that way. So this is what happens, right? True love is free of fear and characterized by non-attachment. Why do you think people don't express their love and fondness to somebody? Because oftentimes love and attachment are tangled. It's not. Attachment, you should not have attachment when you truly love somebody. Unconditional love, right? Oh, if I love them, they will not stay with me. I had this trend where I love somebody, I get too attached to them, and then they leave. Then I am left with a heartbreak. I cannot handle it. But why? If you love somebody, you love them and you think good of them, you wish good for them wherever they are. Right? Fear of loss energizes undue attachment and possessiveness. When attachment is there, there is possessiveness. When there is possessiveness, it comes with jealousy. Right? The man who is insecure about his girlfriend is very jealous. Attachment and love are very different. They are not, people often say that, oh, I love my son a lot, I'm so attached to him. If you truly love a person, you want good for them. You want them to be what they are and how they are, because you want them to be happy. You don't want them to be bound to you. If they love somebody more than you, that's okay. You have to be happy for them. You get attached to somebody only when you feel empty from inside. If you are filled with love, there is so much more love to share with everybody. Only if you're filled with emptiness, then you want to fill it by somebody else's love. That means you want them attached to you. Right? When it is too much. So when the emotions are too much for us to handle, then the mind will create an event out there. It has to let out. It has to find an expression. Right? So grieving creates sad events in life. If I am somebody who is suppressing so much of grief, right? Then even for suppressing and repressing emotions, I, as a person, mind, body, I have some capacity. Let's say my capacity is 100 units of grief. If I don't, and if there is more grief, more than that, then how do I, if I did not, if I did not express it out or neutralize it, what will happen? I will project it out there. Then I will hear only death news everywhere. Loss, death, everything. I'm like, oh my God, this world is surrounded by only death, only loss. Because I'm projecting it out. I'm projecting my grief out. If I'm a fearful person and it's too much of fear, I'm not neutralizing the fear inside. If you don't neutralize, it gets accumulated, right? If I'm not neutralizing and letting go, I have 100 units of each. Let's say for each emotion, I have my mind and body capacity is 100 units for each emotion. Once it crosses that, when it becomes too much, more than 100, it tries to project it out. So I'll be attracting only fearful things around me. I will be attracting only angry people around me, prideful people around me. I'll be constantly insulted. If I'm a prideful person, then I'll be constantly being insulted. If I'm an angry person, I'm surrounded by infuriating circumstances, things like that. Everything in the universe emits a vibration. That's why in that map of consciousness, when we saw wherever we are vibrating, we are attracting, we are in that zone. The more we let go of lower emotions and the higher we vibrate, we will attract those. So if you're more grateful, that's why they say the more you're grateful for things, you will find more things to be grateful for, right? That's what it is. Emotions are energy. Emotional vibrations, they impact the body's energy fields. I don't know if how many people remembered the You Forever book. We talked about how each emotion impacts our body. This is the heat map, body heat map. Anger, look at happiness. Happiness is like energizing your body a lot. Anger is also a lot of energy. If you can focus your anger in a constructive or a destructive way, it has a lot of energy too. Fear also has a lot of energy, because in a negative way, because you have to be flight or fight, right? You have to be able to fight yourself or fly. For that, you need a lot of energy. But if you see, neutral is this, right? Depression is this. Blue means they literally cannot act. They cannot move. They cannot act. That is what is depression. You feel very, very gloomy. Pride also has a lot of energy. So impact these emotional vibrations, they impact the body's energy fields. They reveal effects that can be seen, felt, and measured. So what is energy field, right? Energy field is around us. It is aura. It is our aura, right? Based on our emotions, the aura changes color. Our basic emotional states transmit themselves to the universe. What is based on my aura? When you look at some person, you feel right away very calm. They need not open their mouth. You need not even, you know how they say that, oh, that person looks like a very arrogant person. That person looks like, I always felt like, how can somebody say that? You don't have enough information to say that. But looks like that you can say that based on their aura, on what they're emitting, right? The mind has no dimensions or size. It is not an organ, right? It is not limited in space. It transmits its basic state via vibrational energy over an unlimited distance. Unlimited distance. With a thought, me sitting here in US with a thought can make wonders, impact people across the world, right? We routinely and unwittingly affect others by our emotional state and thoughts. If we are thinking negative about somebody continents away, I can impact their energy field as well. Emotional patterns and their associated thought forms, for instance, can be picked up and received consciously by psychics at a great distance. That's why all these healing modalities, space and distance is not, time is not a problem, because the mind can pick up all those things. It can pick up your emotional state and help you heal it. The law of attraction, as I said, this is an entire topic by itself. We will, I'll definitely do at least one talk on law of attraction or the entire book review, depending on the time. But emotions affect and determine the people who are in our lives. And like attracts like, right? Anger attracts angry thoughts. Love promotes love. So if we let go of our inner negativity, then we get surrounded by loving thoughts, loving events, loving people, and loving pets. If you want good in your life, surround yourself with those thoughts. So we will talk about the mechanism of letting go in the next week.